All right, what's up, everybody? Holden Kushner here, doing my first show for Run Pure Sports. Mangone and I worked together previously. I just met JT a few minutes ago. I'm so excited. I dropped my Joe DiMaggio autograph picture, which I got back in 1988 in Atlanta. My 2-year-old fell in the toilet, and I had to grab him out. So let's go win some DFS so I can forget the shit show we got going on right now. What's going on, boys? Terrific to be with you. I'm so excited. We got a big slate tonight, though. It's a little confusing. It's tough picking out the right players right now, man. Go. What's your general thoughts on the slate, buddy?
Yeah, Holden, excited to have you here. Excited to hang out with you again. It should be a fun time. If you guys haven't checked out Holden, go give him a follow on Twitter. Holden's awesome, so check him out. But the slate. It's one of those slates where I like pitching more yesterday, which is odd to say. You got an elite arm like Max Scherzer on the mound, which I'm torn what to do with. He's coming off an injury, so I'm excited to kind of dive into it and really talk about it. My core plays aren't exactly set today, so I kind of want to still dive in and discuss the slate and look at some more things with JT and you.
Yeah, JT, what's your thoughts on the slate overall? We got a Coors game. We got some top shelf pitchers. What are you looking at?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to Run Pure. Good to have you. I think this is a tricky slate here. You've got some pitchers that at the high end, at these prices last year in these matchups, I'd be excited to play them. This year, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know if I feel that the value is there. But then if you want to go to the lower end, you're taking on a lot more risk. So there's definitely some bats I love. It was much easier to identify the teams that I want to stack up today than the pitchers. So, but we'll talk through it, and then maybe by the end of this Zoom, we'll have an idea where we're going to go.
Yeah, let's figure it out. Let's get to the pitchers first. Scherzer's up top, no doubt about it. He's got a big matchup tonight against the Mets. Their offense has struggled from time to time this season. Then you got Wheeler in a really interesting matchup here. Small ballpark going up against the Baltimore Orioles. There's Dylan Bundy who's kind of can't come on. He's going up against Oakland. Minor. Mangone, let's start with you. Give me some thoughts on the pitching at the top.
Yeah, so listen, at the top, right, you have to like Max Scherzer. I'm not going to argue it. He's one of the best arms on the slate. You can argue you just have to kind of eat it in cash games, but I'm trying to look at other routes. I do think he's not hard to get on your teams. I think on Draftkings it's a little bit easier. On FanDuel, it's still not hard because salary, isn't exactly always a thing there. And there's enough value where I think you're able to make it work that we'll talk about as we get to the batters. But I am concerned with Max, right? This is good. This is a good hitting environment. The other thing I'm a little worried about with Max is he's coming off an injury. I know it's only a hamstring, right? It's not his elbow, so that's not too worrisome. Ultimately, I'll say this. FanDuel and DraftKings, I think Max is currently the guy for me. As we dive in and talk about some other pitchers, maybe JT can talk me onto something else, but the problem is the other options at cash games for pitchers, they're not that great. Maybe we can find something. Maybe JT has something that I missed. Maybe you got something. But right now, I think Max is clear-cut away the best guy. If you're worried about Max, if you're worried about the injury, I understand going to a Zach Wheeler. I get it. It makes some sense. You can look and say, hey, Zach Wheeler, he's a pretty good pitcher. He's going against a really bad Orioles offense, right? This is one that you can attack. There's not as many Ks there as you would hope, right? It's like around a 20% K rate, which is still good. Obviously, you'd want a little bit better. And Wheeler is not the elite talent that Max Scherzer is, right? Like Max Scherzer is a top 5 guy in the league. Zach Wheeler is not. He's still a good pitcher, though. All in all, I think Scherzer is the guy. If you want to go down to Wheeler, I get it. I don't think I'm currently doing that, though, right now.
JT, we got GPP, some thoughts there from you on the top shelf. Will you be hitting up the top 3 or 4 pitchers tonight? If you are, which ones are you using? If not, why not?
Yeah, I think it's a decision at the top between Wheeler and Scherzer. And I can honestly make a little bit more of a case for Wheeler tonight. Max is coming off of that injury where he only pitched 1 inning. He does well against the Mets, but in his start before that, he only went 6. So he's on the road. Like Mangone mentioned, it's really good hitting weather up there. He's a fly ball pitcher. You could see the Mets hitting a couple of homers, and at 10-8, if I can get down to 9-9 and play Wheeler. Now, the thing with Wheeler, right, his velocity's fine. His control has been fine. He's only got a 13% K rate, but his only 2 matchups so far are against Miami, who really doesn't strike out nearly as much as they used to, especially not this year, and the Yankees. So against the Baltimore team, that is, I think, has played a little bit over their heads. I can see this being a game where Wheeler gets right and maybe has a better chance than Scherzer to get into the 7th or 8th inning and give you that 30 points that you need to win a tournament from that type of salary.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at this. I guess tier 1 would be what? Scherzer and Wheeler. And then you look at DraftKings. Bundy is very close to that price range. Wheeler's 9.9, Bundy's 9.7. Mike Minor's there. You got John Lester going up against the worst offense in baseball, the Cleveland Indians, but you're not going to get any strikeouts there. So let's drop down a tier, Mangone. You already mentioned your love for Scherzer, but as we look down the pricing here, Dillon, Bundy, Mike Minor. I don't think anybody's going to take a risk on Gallon, are we? Even going down to Stripling. Who else can we consider maybe on that second tier or even mid-tier?
Yeah, so I think it's more of like a price thing, right? Like if you told me Dylan Bundy was 8.5K, right, or 8K, I'd have more of an interest in it. It'd be more of a conversation, but he's not. Mike Minor, I believe he's on a pitch count. JT, you can touch on that when we get there. I believe, though, it's like a 75 pitch count around. But yeah, that's the problem with him. I don't know if I want to mess with that. Obviously, Seattle's somewhere to attack, but I feel like you're capping your ceiling a little bit. I haven't played John Lester in a while. Don't think I'm doing it here. Zach Gallen, like, sure, I get it. He's been talented, but in Coors, I'll pass. Am I playing Mike Fiers against the Angels? The Angels have been a hot offense, and I said this before, Holden. Snitches get stitches, man. We don't like Mike Fiers. We can't roster that bum. He's the guy who ratted out on the Astros. So I can't play some Mike Fiers. He's terrible anyways. Ross Stripling, another guy, like, sure, at the surface it makes sense, but pitch count, right? I'm always worried about him, worried about Dave Roberts pulling him. So all these guys in the mid-tier, they have some question marks. Even Gio Gonzalez has been pitching better. You can make a case for him, but the problem with Gio is he goes with the Tigers. They've been hitting the ball pretty well, and Gio, he can kind of be dicey at times. The last guy I'll mention is that Brandon Bliak, the guy for the Astros. Mm-hmm. I think he could be kind of interesting because we talk about the Giants and how they can be a problem. And he ended up going 5 innings last time, so he can be kind of in play in the mid-tier. But again, I think you're capping your ceiling a little bit with him. So all in all, this mid-tier, it's kind of gross, and I don't know if I really want to touch much of it.
Mangone, are you a communist? I hear you saying you're not playing Mike Fiers because he's a rat. I mean, ultimately, it's all about making money, buddy. We're all capitalists here. Are we just shutting down Mike Fiers, putting him under surveillance? What's going on? What's your deal with him?
Well, I mean, if he was a good pitcher, I probably wouldn't, right? I'm here to make money too, just like maybe Mike Fiers is, just like you. Like we're all trying to get the money, but Mike Fiers is not going to be a guy that's making me money today. If I see a spot that he's up against, the Orioles, and it's like 40 degrees and he's got like a 120 pitch count, sure, I'd be on Mike Fiers, but no Mike Fiers for me.
So here's the question, JT, because you're going to have to differentiate yourself a little bit in GPPs, and I guess in FanDuel, it's one thing, but on DraftKings, like, is there any really good contrarian play that you kind of feel comfortable with? I mean, could Marco Gonzalez be that guy going up against Texas tonight? I don't know what the ceiling is on him. It actually might be a little bit higher because the matchup that he has. But give me somebody else that I can at least throw out there in a lineup if I'm putting in 20.
Yeah, I think the guys that have that upside are in dangerous matchups, so they come with a little bit of risk, right? Jordan Montgomery is coming off a bad start. He's at home against the Braves. Braves are definitely a dangerous offense, but they strike out 35% of the time against lefties. They only have a 110 ISO. They put up some runs yesterday against a very bad Phillies bullpen. I have some interest in Jordan Montgomery. We're crossing Mike Minor off because he's on a 75 pitch count. I'm crossing Dylan Bundy off. He has had a phenomenal start to the year, but he's coming off a complete game shutout of the Mariners. His numbers right now are so much better than his career. I might make 75 A's lineups tonight. I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm crossing Bundy off at that price. I think this is a game where he absolutely regresses. I'm going to cross off Mike Fiers and his 5% strikeout rate so far this year. Angels don't strike out anyway. He's a fly ball pitcher. I think I like that offense a lot. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot in this mid-range. Even Bliak for Houston, he's got a 5% strikeout rate and a 16% walk rate. This San Francisco team is a little bit underrated. I actually have a little bit of interest in them with that terrible Houston bullpen behind him. So for me, I think I'm going to find myself dropping all the way down, maybe to a Josh Lindblom. I might even take some shots against the grain on a Martin Perez. against a Tampa Bay team that strikes out 28% of the time against lefties. And Perez is a guy that doesn't give up fly balls. He's a ground ball pitcher. It's going to be ugly tonight. It's no doubt going to be ugly for me when I look to pair either Wheeler or Scherzer. I'm going to go way down.
What happens with Zach Gallen when he's got about 0.5% ownership and he throws that changeup, and the only guy that can hit it with the Rockies because nobody else can hit it is Charlie Blackmon? So either one of you, any exposure to Zach Gallen, even one lineup?
I mean, listen, I'm a cash guy, right? But in GVPs, like, let's say you're the GVP guy that says, I'm never playing Coors, right? I'm never playing it. I don't want to mess with it. Why not some Zach Gallen for like the ultimate leverage? I don't hate it in GPPs. Again, I'm not the GPP guy. How about we ask JT? JT, I mean, is it something that we can be doing? Because I think it's an interesting pivot.
Yeah, I mean, I probably will have some exposure to Gallen. I don't know how much, but you mentioned the exact reason, Holden, right? There's a couple, I think. One is this Colorado team, if they played anywhere besides Coors Field, it would probably be, guys wouldn't be in the major leagues, half of this team. So Gallen has the fourth highest strikeout rate on the slate. The Rockies can strike out a bit, and it's not a terrible match. I don't love the Rockies offense tonight. I don't like their prices. I don't know if I'll have any exposure to the Rockies. I do like the Arizona side a little bit. So Gallen, some exposure. I don't know about anyone else besides Montgomery in this mid-range that I'm all that interested in.
Yeah, and Freeland on the other side of that game. Freeland's been good, terrific out of the gate. And 2 years ago when he came up, I mean, he's a Denver guy, so he's used to this. He had a remarkable rookie season. I'll never forget his debut beating Clayton Kershaw. But last year regressed, and now he's back to where he was. And it seems like the plan last year completely fell apart because all these young pitchers knew how to pitch at Coors 2 years ago. Last year was bad. And it seems as though they've turned around. So I don't know if I'm buying into either one of that. But if you go back and look at Arizona last year, destroying left-handed pitchers, that could be I mean, when we get to offense, Arizona's going to be most popular, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to be the most popular. I don't have as much interest in them as I did last night. Last night they were my top stack easily. But look, Freeland is a guy. He's 16% strikeout rate, 9% walk rate. He's got a 430 xFIP. I'm not all that impressed with him. He did have some good games, but games and matchups that he should have good games. He played in Texas against the Rangers with the roof closed. That's a matchup he should smash. Any left-hander should smash. Mangone, if he threw left-handed, would come close to a no-hitter in that matchup. Then he was at home against the Giants on a Sunday game during the day. That's a good matchup for him. This is not as good a matchup for him. And with the lineup the Diamondbacks put out, I'm not going to have any exposure to Freeland today.
Mangone, anything left to talk about pitching? You want to get to the bats?
Yeah, I did want to mention, if I am pitching JT, like, I don't know what I top. It's maybe like 60 on the gun, maybe. I mean, it's not good, man. So you're definitely, listen, your adult softball league, they might be shelling me. So yeah, I'm not the pitcher there. I will say Marco Gonzalez, we haven't mentioned, he's a cheap, I guess I have him in my cheap option.
I mentioned him. You're not listening to me. First show together. You don't even want to listen to me. This is ridiculous. I'm out. Bunsky.
Sorry, Holden. I'm updating the tiers for the people. I'm trying to put all my tiers in for.
That's good. Marco Gonzalez. I like him a little bit. Just a little.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's in play. So here's one of the conversations you can have as a cash game player, right? You could say, I like Marco Gonzalez. He can get it done. But you can also make an argument. Do you want to just punt all the way to the bottom and play a 4K guy and get all the bats? Do you want to go down to, Josh Lindblom, who I think is a really interesting pivot, former KBO MVP. He gets the Twins, though, right? The Twins, they're a scary offense. I'm not saying I want to attack the Twins. In cash games, no, I'm not taking a pitcher against the Twins. That's a mistake. But in GBPs, I think Josh Lindblom could be really interesting because, I mean, again, the Twins, they're a really good power offense, but they can strike out. I mean, there are Ks in that lineup. So Marco, he's probably my favorite SP2, I guess I would say. But don't sleep on Josh Lindblom as a little, cheap pivot.
All right, put it here. Anything, JT, for you? Anybody we forgot?
Yeah, I just on Marco Gonzalez, I don't have any interest tonight. He's pitched 2 really good games in a row, but I'm a patterns guy, and I don't expect him to keep that up. I don't expect him to go lights out here. Even in Texas, I should say, for me, it depends if that roof is open. I haven't seen it yet. We saw last night what a difference it makes when the roof is open in Texas, 9, 10, whatever runs it was for the Mariners later. I was not on the Lindblom train. I was not buying his KBO success, but look, I mean, you're right. Minnesota, 26% strikeout rate. Josh Lindblom, 34% strikeout rate right now, 2.92 xFIP. At 5.8, why not?
All right, guys, offense. You know what? Let's start with Coors here. So this to me is the most intriguing thing tonight. Which way you're going with Coors, and then we can, or with Coors Field, and then we get back to some of the other games like Atlanta and the Yankees. But JT, let me start with you here because we got a little bit of thoughts from Mangone on that one. Are you underweight, overweight on Coors here in your GPPs? Is it something you got to do, or is there a pivot you're looking at so you don't have to run out a bunch of Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I'm going to be underweight. If I go the Diamondback route, I'm going to be light on it, and I'm going to be maybe making them more complementary stacks, so 2- and 3-man stacks to mix in with the other teams that I like a lot more. The Rockies, I'm not going to have a lot of. I think the prices are still way elevated. I think there's some really good value in some other spots tonight. So for me, I'm definitely going to have some Diamondbacks. I don't know how much yet, but definitely less than I had last night.
What about cash there, Mangone? It's almost like you got to lock Charlie Blackmon in when you can. The salary's getting up there, but 14-game hit streak, 484 batting average. The OPS is over 1,200. This guy's going bananas right now. What's your exposure in cash? And tell me a little bit about Blackmon.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Blackmon take. I think one of the issues with Blackmon, it's not that I don't like him. The issue is it's just harder to get him in your lineups today, obviously, with someone like Max Scherzer. So I'm trying to, squeeze in as many of like these quote unquote value Coors bats I guess I can find. Like a guy that I want to talk about is Andrew Young, right? Like this dude's batting first. He's cheap over on FanDuel. He's like 2.5K. Draftkings, what do you got him at? 3.9K. For a leadoff hitter, right, against a lefty like Kyle Freeland, I definitely want to, look at him. Also, positions matters too. Sometimes there's more value in the outfield, which can kind of cause some, problems. Obviously, Young, he's a third baseman. I like Starling Marte. Again, he's like 1,000 less, right, than Charlie Blackmon. Again, that 6K price tag is a lot. Even David Peralta, I know it's lefty. I get it. It's not ideal, but he's 3.9K. Be able to get like a 3.9K Coors bat. It's definitely enticing. Again, it's tough. We don't have all of the value in the world. So, Escobar too. Again, he's another guy. He's a switch hitter, which is great. He's 3.9K. So I'm more on the Diamondbacks, and I like the Diamondbacks the other day, right? Yesterday it was better because they were even cheaper, but the prices haven't fully adjusted. I think you can mix and match some of them with Max Scherzer. And then on the other side, I think Charlie Blackmon's the best overall bat. I think you're spot on with that, but salary's a thing and also positions. And I don't know if I'm going to be getting as much Charlie Blackmon as I would like, Holden.
Hey, I feel like Marte might be the highest owned position player on the slate. I could be completely wrong, JT, but what's your plan of attack here? If you're not going full on with this game, you're going to be fading a lot. Is there a piece or two that you plan on throwing in your lineups to have some exposure to tonight?
Yeah, I think Young is definitely going to be very highly owned. Leadoff hitter under 4K at Coors. A lot of people are going to be getting him in. I do like Starling today. You can run a little bit on Freeland. And I don't mind Peralta. But Ketel Marte, this whole Arizona team, the whole top part of that order intrigues me at those prices. So where I'm going 3, it's going to be limited to mostly the top 4 or 5 of that order, mix and match those guys with my other stacks.
All right, very good. Let's move on to Atlanta, visiting the Yankees. Looking at the Yankees here on FanDuel, I made a note to myself. I'm just look at that. Torres, slow start, 2.7 on FanDuel. Gary Sanchez, slow start, 2.6 on FanDuel. There are some Yankees bats there that are a bit affordable. You look at the bats on the Atlanta side too, going up against Jordan Montgomery. Mangone, we'll start with you. How much exposure to this game? I feel like the Yankees are going to be, if not the second most popular team, they're going to be right up there, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, you should like the Yankees here. I mean, this Toussaint guy, like, I mean, he's been having some issues, right? Like lefties, he really gets beat up by. The one problem with the Yankees is like, okay, like lefties aren't really their thing, right? If you look at the lefties in the lineup, it's Brett Gardner, it's Mike Ford, it's Aaron Hicks, but that's okay. Like they're value plays, especially on FanDuel, which is a site that you talk about. I definitely like mixing and matching them in. It's also, a really good ballpark for those lefties, right? So I think that you're spot on. I like the lefties more, like I said, but you can mix and match some righties in there, like a Gleyber Torres. Like you're 1,000% right, Holden. 2.7K on FanDuel, like that's crazy. And we talk about the Yankee stack all the time, all the power that they have. And they got a guy like Gio Urshela, who's a great bat, who's towards the bottom of the lineup. You could pay for an Aaron Judge, and other people are paying for, they're paying for the Rockies. They're paying for the Diamondbacks. So a guy like Judge out of nowhere just might not get the ownership. So you're spot on, Holden. I think this Yankee stack is a really, really good one on this slate.
Hey, JT, what about you? Exposure to both teams. Maybe you can talk about Atlanta, the Atlanta side too. If there's anybody there, you can mix and match.
Yeah, I like Jordan Montgomery tonight. I do. There's two teams, the Braves and the Tampa Bay Rays, where I've rostered them consistently against lefties, only to watch them flail and strike out and not get on base and crush my lineups. And Montgomery is a good bounce back spot for him. Atlanta strikes out 35% of the time. Sure, if you're going to do a one-off, the guy I'd go with is Ozuna. Hits lefties probably the best out of anybody in that lineup. I mean, yes, you've got Riley and Duvall. I don't know if they made the lineup today. On the Yankees side, I kind of wish Mike Tauchman was in that lineup. He's not. They've only got 3 lefties, but that doesn't scare me against Touki Toussaint.
All right, so then we got the Orioles and the Phillies. You got Wheeler going up against the Orioles here. The interesting thing about the Orioles is they got some power. They've hit 21 home runs this year. They got a team ISO of 195, so that's number 7 in baseball. They're also going up against a really good pitcher, though, as we know there. So Mangone, Phillies implied total too is 5.2. So they're right. They're higher than the Yankees, and let's see here, only behind Boston, Tampa Bay, and then the Coors game. So you know what? Houston's up there too, but Philly's got a nice little total. Can we go that way against Alex Cobb, the former Oriole, who's just garbage? I mean, I kind of actually like the Phillies offense a little bit tonight.
Yeah, Holden, I agree. I mean, I think this Phillies offense is in a really good spot. They started to heat up a little bit, right? They kind of came out really slow. It wasn't great. And then they had all the COVID stuff that happened, and they've started to hit a little bit better. I think this is a really good spot. I don't like Alex Cobb. I'm down to attack Alex Cobb. I'm there for it. So, yeah, I like this Phillies offense. I think you brought up a good point with the Orioles. I make fun of them all the time because of the Baltimore Orioles, but they do have more power in your lineup than you'd expect. I don't hate if people want to do like a 3-man stack of it here and there typically, but not against Zach Wheeler, right? That doesn't make a ton of sense in my opinion today. But yeah, Alex Cobb, he's a guy that I want to attack. I'm definitely here to attack him. And if I'm going to do that, why not do it with some of the righties? I mean, there's definitely some opportunity there. He has some problems with those guys. I think a Rhys Hoskins is a really strong play today. I like him. Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, who's been crushing the ball. Didi Gregorius has been doing pretty good. Up and down this lineup, I really like the Phillies. I think you can mix and match them in cash games. I think you can play them in tournaments. Philly stack is definitely one I want to be looking at strong.
Hey, T, where's Philly on your radar? I feel like, you're going to have the Coors game. You're going to have the Yankees. Phillies got to slot in there somewhere. A little bit lower owned.
Yeah, no, I don't know if they'll be actually, yeah, I do show them at about under 10%. It's interesting because 12 games, ownership seems to be pretty much spread out outside of the Coors game. Alex Cobb is a guy who's been pitching a lot better than his actual skill set. And I think tonight's the night where he could come back to reality. The case for playing the Orioles or any of the Orioles or even a mini stack here is not just that, Wheeler isn't typically a guy who's going to go anywhere in, length in terms of the game, but it's also that Philly bullpen, which almost blew a 13-run lead yesterday. They've played, 4 or 5 games, I think, over the last 3 days. They had at least one doubleheader. They're not very good. I don't know if they've already sent Nick Pivetta down or if they let him go as soon as he got off the field yesterday. But this is a team that's going to struggle once again with their bullpen. So it's not crazy to take shots, maybe a 3-man complimentary stack, or even if you want to go part of a game stack here with this Orioles team, but definitely Philly should be the priority.
Yeah, I think that's a great take that you had there on the Orioles because of that bullpen. Like, what were they up yesterday? 12-0. They're 7 runs in the 9th by the man. It was that bullpen's just brutal. And then Girardi's overthinking things. Just leave Nola in there. What a dumb move. So we got Washington and the Mets next. Just are we crossing the Mets off the list just because it's Scherzer, JT? On the other side, you've got Porcello. Juan Soto's back. Juan Soto is crushing. I think, you got him and Turner, a little bit higher price. There's some other bats in that game, like a Jeff McNeil, if you did want to attack Max Scherzer. So, JT, I do not see a lot of Mets bats in people's lineups tonight. Will you have any Mets bats?
Yeah, I don't know. And it all comes down to my decision on Scherzer, right? If I'm going to, for me, I think Scherzer's a guy today I'm going to either go overweight on or I'm going to fade. And yesterday I went 75% Corbin, and because he was clearly the top option on the slate. He didn't get his usual what I wanted out of him, but he was still the second highest scoring pitcher on the slate, so it worked out well. If I'm going to fade Scherzer, then yes, I'm going to take a couple of Met stacks at under 1% or 1% ownership and hope that the field is all in on Scherzer, even though he's coming off an injury and he hasn't gone deep in a game yet. I just don't know where I'm going to go there, and that's kind of the decision though. If I play Scherzer, I won't have the Mets.
So there you go, Mangone. You talked about Scherzer earlier. That's somebody, so you wouldn't even, you're not playing Mets in cash. That's stupid. So let's attack the other side of things. Anybody from the Nationals, whether it be Soto. Eric Thames is in the lineup tonight. He's hitting 7th, but here's a guy that can crush Rick Porcello. He hits righties really well. Porcello's got no velocity anymore. Trey Turner maybe at the top. Anything in cash from this game.
Yeah, I'll say this, Holden. I was on the Nationals yesterday. I liked them a ton. I thought they were one of the better offenses on the day, and their implied total wasn't great, right? It was at 4.5. It's a little higher today against Porcello, and I still think they're a good play, right? There's teams with higher totals. I see the Red Sox with a higher total, and I'm like, man, I'll pass on them. I'd rather play the Nationals here in this spot, especially on a site like FanDuel. They're always cheap. I can pull up the prices now on FanDuel. Let me just double check because they normally have really good prices. We got Trey Turner at 3.2K on FanDuel, Adam Eaton 2.7, Starling Castro at 2.6. I don't mind that. Soto 4.1. He's the only guy you really have to pay for. So if you want to jam Max Scherzer in your lineups and get a cheap stack, why don't we just stack them all up, right? I'm definitely in the camp of when teams are hitting the ball, they're going to keep hitting it, right? You don't know when it's going to end, but I'd rather ride the streak. I don't want to guess when it's going to end. I want to ride them while they're hot. So let's ride the Nationals while they're hot, Holden. I think this is a great spot against Porcello. Bad Mets bullpen. Everything checks out. I'm a Mets fan, Holden. I watch the Nationals kill us all the time. I'm sure they're going to kill us again tonight.
I grew up a Mets fan, Mango. I was going to hang this year. I was going to hang this because I covered them for about 12 years. Absolutely love them. They gave me this for putting wreaths on down at Arlington. It was really sad putting wreaths. Let me just get back to baseball here real quick.
Well, you make the right call.
I quit in 08. I was at the 86 World Series. I went to 3 of the games. Okay. You know nothing about winning, do you? Just constant sorrow and awfulness.
Yeah, the big World Series that was the worst was against the Yankees, right? I had to deal with the Yankees fans too afterwards. So yep. It was terrible. Obviously, the Royals one wasn't fun either, but
that stadium too. Yeah, that was rough. Who's your team, JT?
I grew up in Brooklyn, so I grew up a Mets fan. It's very painful. Yeah, I'm a reformed Mets fan as well.
Yeah, it's time to get rid of it.
Hold on. Am I having a moment? Am I supposed to reform right here to a new team? Is that supposed to happen? We'll see if you guys can beat me up throughout the season, but I'm still a loyal Met fan. And
why?
Listen, you don't have to beat you up. They're easily the worst run franchise in baseball, and easily one of the bottom 5 in terms of management in sports in the United States, along with the Knicks, who I also rooted for. So it was brutal.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
I didn't know
a rough one.
3 Met fans, and one guy turned into a card, and it sounds like JT did as well. But that doesn't matter for tonight's slate. Let's move on to our next game here. This is interesting, man, going for cash. Cleveland at the Cubs, and Cleveland's offense, I can't believe how bad they have been at this point. Both teams with mediocre implied totals, about 4.5, so the total's got to be around 9 for this game. And then on DK, do you see some of these prices? Ramirez, 5.7, Lindor, 5.4. Gosh, I have a hard time, JT, and we'll get to you on this in a second. I have a hard time with Cleveland right now. Anything from this game, man, going to cash?
Yeah, I mean, I'm good on this game. I just think we could pass. I don't think it's too necessary. No need for me on this one. I get it if you want to say, oh, Lester could blow up and the Indians could get there, sure. But I really haven't played the Indians a ton this year, and I played them a lot last year. I'm just going to keep staying away. It's been profitable. I'm going to keep doing that. One thing I wanted to note, someone said in the chat, Ronald Acuna got scratched. So, as we go to JT on this, maybe JT can give his opinion on if things have changed for him. Maybe he likes Montgomery even more. But yeah, Acuna is scratched. So if he's in your lineups, guys, get him out.
JT, Mangone just asked you a question.
He did. Thank you for waking me up there. He was talking for so long. I like Montgomery, and Acuna is sure one of the guys that could put it out, but he's another guy who strikes out against lefties. It's like it really is interesting for a team that has guys with such prior success, how much the last 2 years they've struck out against them. So yeah, it does bump up my interest in Montgomery just a little bit more.
And let me throw a little news out there. So you mentioned the Acuna news there, Mangone. Springer's out tonight. He's got the wrist issue. Edwin Encarnacion is back for the Chicago White Sox. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Ryan Braun should be back too. And then getting back to the White Sox, I think Tim Anderson's back. So, wow, when we get to the White Sox, that's a lot of news there. They're getting a couple of bumps. So we move on to the White Sox and Detroit. Perfect timing. Encarnacion, boom. We'll look at him. We'll look at Tim Anderson, who really is the catalyst. Edwin Encarnacion's in there batting fifth tonight. This is an interesting White Sox offense. 11 times this year they've had a 3-hit game from a player. They also score 3 or less runs in more than half of their games. They're a fascinating young team. Mangone, does this news with Anderson and Encarnacion put these guys on your radar tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're more in the conversation now. I'm looking at some numbers on Alexander and trying to see, and like the righties is where he's really had his struggles. I mean, he gets beat up pretty bad. So, I don't mind going to, a little Grandal, little Tim Anderson, Moncada, Abreu, Encarnacion. The only issue I have sometimes with the White Sox is like, it's the worst trying to pick like which first baseman's going to do it, right? Abreu or Encarnacion. I feel like if you play that, you have to kind of play both just so you don't get burned by one or the other. On a site like FanDuel, you could be really unique and just play both of them. And like, how many people are going to do that, right? That could be a unique route to go with the utility slot as an option. So in tournaments, if you told me, you got to pick one of these sides, I'd pick the White Sox side. And I do think this White Sox side is a pretty good tournament play. It might not be, my 1, 2, or 3, but I think it's in the conversation. If I'm building 150 lineups, I think I want to try and get overweight on the White Sox.
Yeah, I don't see anybody on the White Sox tonight, JT. I could be completely wrong. I don't see anybody on the Tigers. I think nobody. If you have the Tigers, we got a lefty in Gio Gonzalez, the fly ball pitcher too. So this to me, this spot, White Sox, Tigers. This to me could be a spot to get a little bit of leverage, but it would be wise to even go there.
Yeah, actually, I love this spot for the White Sox. I love it for the same reason that I love a game we'll talk about later, the A's, because Alexander is bad. He was in the bullpen, and what happened here is he struck out 9 Reds in a row in a game on Sunday, and now they're going to give him an opportunity to start, which is a nice, heartwarming story, but he's going to get ripped to shreds tonight. And the White Sox are easily my top stack. Well, they're tied. They're tied with the A's for my top stack of the night.
Oh, look at that. All right. So that means that not a lot of people are going to be on him if you're pinpointing them right there. I like that. Detroit, anything on that side?
Yeah, I could see going to Detroit too, because Gio is not a guy who strikes a lot of guys out. Detroit actually, surprisingly, has the highest ISO against left-handed pitchers in the game right now. That's probably due to hitting like 12 or 13 home runs in the first inning off Derek Holland on Saturday. But I like this spot for some of these guys. They're still, although the prices have come up a little bit, but Gio's a guy who walks a lot of guys, and you could see him putting a couple of guys on, giving a base hit, and then giving up a bomb. So not a bad game stack here.
So you were talking about the Tigers. I mean, they're right up there in a few different categories. WOBA, they're right there. I think definitely in the top 8 or so. ISO, they're hitting some home runs. Their ISO is looking good at 209, so that puts them up there in the top 4 or 5 as well. There are some. We just made fun of the Tigers because they're coming into the season as one of the worst teams. They've gotten off to a decent start. And I think you're right, the bats. I mean, maybe it's been skewed, but every team gets skewed by a big game here and there. So I think I like that, man. I might actually throw that into my player pool coming up here tonight. Mangone, moving on to Tampa Bay and Boston. The Rays offense has struggled from time to time, but here we are. Both these teams with 5.25 implied totals. Kittredge Perez, the pitching matchup, it's not doing too much for me either. These bats are extraordinarily you got a lot of affordable ones. I mean, I even see Hunter Renfroe here going up against a left-hander tonight. He's 2.8 on FanDuel. Mangone, cash plays from this game.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on Renfroe. I mean, that's a great call right there. Also at the top, I mean, if you're looking for some salary, right, I'm going to butcher this name, man. I'm going to call him Mike B, but it's Mike Brossier, I think. It could be bad, but Mike B. He's batting at the top, and I mean, he's very cheap over on FanDuel. DK Dewey is a decent price tag, right? You get him first base, second base eligible. If you want to plug him at the second base position, go right ahead. You get him for 3.3K. And then over on FanDuel, you get him at 2.3K at second base. So if that's a spot you want to get a little cheaper so you can jam some bats, that's perfectly fine. Also, don't mind on FanDuel like a Yandy Diaz, right? 2.5K. That's a really nice price tag on him. You got, G-Man Choi. He's a switch hitter. You got him at 2.5 over on FanDuel. There's a lot of nice prices here on this Rays team over on a site like a FanDuel. And even DK, I don't mind going to these guys. I think it's a really interesting option. DK2, Hunter Renfroe, 3.3K. I mean, this is just a really good spot for the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm not touching the Red Sox. I played them too much this year. We are going to X them off and say goodbye. But, man, this Rays team, they're definitely a tasty stack today, as Big T would say.
All right. Brousseau. Say after me, Brousseau.
Brousseau. Mike Brousseau.
Mike Brousseau. You did very good. You're an Italian. That's a French name, so I expected you to botch it.
Yeah, not my territory.
JT, let's do it, baby. What do you like from this game? Give me some GPP options. Are you with me and Mangone on Hunter Renfroe and Yandy Diaz, or are we dumbasses?
So I like Brousseau. I rostered Brousseau. He was my top second baseman on Sunday against James Paxton, and he had a home run. But here's the thing. Just like when they played the Braves and Max Fried pitched against them, and just like Paxton with his 88-mile-an-hour nothing balls on Sunday, and he struck out 9 of them. These guys, I roster them, and I expect them to go off, and two things happen. They're really home run dependent against lefties, and Martin Perez is a guy who is a ground ball pitcher, even though there's good weather in Boston. I'm not saying you can't stack these guys, but here's the other thing about Tampa Bay that actually hit me last night. There's maybe 4 or 5 guys in this lineup on any given night that are not at risk to be pinch hit for, but it's always 4 or 5 different guys. And so last night I had Wendell in my Tampa Bay stack. He got pinch hit for in the middle of the game. Like, I don't mind a 9th inning pinch hit for a defensive replacement, but in the middle of the game, and Kevin Cash does this stuff all the time. So for me, I have a little bit of interest in Martin Perez. I think it's 6.1 on Draftkings. He can get me 15 points and give up 3 home runs. And then, yes, I do have interest in the Rays stack in a maybe a 3-man, because I do think once Perez is out of the game, the Boston bullpen is one of the bottom 3 in the game. So I'm not going to be heavy on Tampa Bay, but I do have some interest in Martin Perez. And you're right. Guys like Brousseau, Renfroe, those are guys who should, if there are going to be home runs hit, they should be the ones hitting them tonight.
All right, I'm coming right back to you, JT, because we got Minnesota and Milwaukee. Prolific offense with Minnesota. Milwaukee tonight's getting Ryan Braun back. I don't know if that even helps them. They're dirt cheap. I mean, on FanDuel, and they're all in the 2Ks, and then Yelich is at 4.3, and here is at 3.2. But this will be a bullpen game with Clippard coming out first. And then on the other side, Minnesota, I mean, at any point in time, these guys can put up a dozen runs. And they're obviously going to be priced a little bit higher. Cruz tonight, Kepler, both these guys, 3.9 and 3.7. You got some $2,000 bats there again on FanDuel. JT, I feel like, we go every night into these slates, and the Twins just aren't high-owned enough on every single night. I think if you just every night throw a Twin stack in there, and once in a while it's going to pay off. So what's the strategy with the Twins and Brewers?
Yeah, I you know what? I think you hit the nail on the head. Is if you're running 150, and I am, yes, I'm going to have some percentage of Twin stacks, but full stacks. because it seems like even last night, right? There was one guy hit a grand slam, and that was it. That was the entire offense for the game. So you're banking on them to go off, although, Milwaukee doesn't have a bad bullpen. And like we said, we like Lindblom a little bit at his price on DraftKings. It's more of a price play. There is some, 26% strikeout percentage in the Minnesota lineup, in the Minnesota offense. They do have a 188 ISO as well. So you know that they can hit a couple of home runs. On the Milwaukee side, I don't know. This hasn't been a great offense to start the year, although Yelich and Ura have been heating up a little bit. Mm-hmm. It always makes it a little bit more difficult when I have no idea who is going to pitch for the other team outside of Tyler Clippard for like 2/3 of an inning or an inning. So I'm not all that interested in this game. I'm gonna probably rely heavily on the other spots.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bullpen too from Milwaukee. It's been terrific. 3.54 xFIP. They're fourth in the league. Yeah. And obviously you're going to have some guys coming out there, longer relievers and stuff like that. But if you wanted to dig deep into those numbers, that's a pretty good bullpen right there. Mangone, Cash, anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not in on this game, right? I get it. These are maybe not the greatest pitchers in the world and stuff, but I just don't think this is a spot to go to. There's a lot of spots I've already talked about that I like, and we got to have some spots where we kind of don't go to. So cash game GPPs, I'm out on this game. I understand if you're like a Twins truther and you said, I'm stacking every day, I'll tell you, keep doing it. Like please, keep doing it. If that's your thing, go for it. For me, not today.
Well, when you're playing $8 a night like I am, even when you hit, you're not winning that much, It's like tonight I might go up to $9. I might play like $3 multi-entries. So if one of those hit, I mean, I'm in the money, baby. That's at least $200 in my pocket. What you guys are throwing out thousands a night. This is what I love about this. Risk averse. It's not good to be risk averse in this business, but that's okay. Whatever. You'll deal with me. We already did Arizona, Colorado. Everybody's in play. Seattle, Texas. Mangone. Another game where you're just going, get out of here, or anything from Texas, maybe?
I mean, is the roof open? This is a JT question. Like, I don't like anything here, but JT, is the roof open? That's my question here, because if it is, I might have interest, but I don't think I do.
I don't know yet. And like Milwaukee has a hotline where you can call and you can find out, is the roof open. Here, there was a random tweet yesterday at like 4:59. It was like, hey, the roof will be open tonight. Like, what? I don't know. I don't know if the roof is open.
Okay. Doesn't matter right now. I'll go look it up when we start talking about the other game. But
I will say though, for this game, if the roof is open, I will definitely have a little bit more interest in Seattle, because we know that Minor is not at full strength and he's going to be limited to 75 pitches. And Texas is another. It seems like a lot of these bullpens this year, just whether it's guys opting out or whatever the issue is, they're just not very good. And Texas is certainly in that crowd.
Okay. How popular is the Houston offense going to be against Tyler Anderson? I mean, this guy is a disaster, right? We got Altuve, 408 WOBA against left-handers. Bregman crushes left-handers. All these guys well over 400. Correa is another guy. Gurriel is another guy. Reddick, it makes me puke when we even bring up Josh Reddick. I shouldn't even talk about his name. Is there a nickname you call Reddick? Just burning money? I mean, what is this guy? So, Mangone, everybody's going to be playing Coors. I love this Houston offense tonight. What about you?
Yeah, it's funny. I mentioned Josh Reddick yesterday as like a cheap FanDuel option if you needed it to jam in the Coors, but no, I'm not really on them today. I think they're good plays, the Astros. I guess I've mentioned so many different bats where I can't get them in. If you're building out a script, right, say you're playing, a bunch of different teams, if you can get the Astros in, by all means, get them in. But currently I'm thinking if I'm building like, 50, 100, 150 lines, even maybe 20 or 10 lineups, I just feel like maybe the Astros don't make the cut for me. I do think maybe some one-offs with an Altuve, a Bregman, a Gurriel, Correa, all those guys, that they make a ton of sense. I agree with you on the Altuve and Bregman thing. If you want to do like a 3-3-2 stack and you want to try and find maybe a lower owned spot with going with Bregman and Altuve, I don't know if that's lower owned. I'll admit I haven't looked at a ton of the ownership. I assume everything's just going to Coors. But yeah, I think that could be an interesting way to go. I just currently like other offenses more.
Yeah, we're not touching San Francisco, so let's not even bother with that. Is that correct? We mentioned Belak, their starting pitcher tonight, but that was about it. Houston, JT, with me or against me on Houston?
Yeah, I mean, I like Tyler Anderson's 10% strikeout rate and his 17% walk rate, his 687 xFIP, the fact that he's a fly ball pitcher in that little park. Houston's in play. I do think it's a spot that's going to go overlooked. People are starting to talk about it a little bit more now. But the other side of this game, too, we say, oh, no San Francisco. Houston's had, by the numbers, the worst bullpen in baseball over the last 10 days and the third worst bullpen in baseball over the season. So it's not a stack situation, but it's guys I talk about every show. I feel Yastrzemski and Dickerson and maybe even Brandon Belt tonight. Eli doesn't strike anybody out.
You're missing out on the best one, Chadwick Tromp. Tromp 2020, baby. I love this kid. I just like his name more than anything else, but he hits home runs, right?
He did a bomb in Coors over the weekend. You're absolutely right.
Lock him into your cash lineup. He's going to win it for you. Chadwick Tromp. Remember this.
No Giants in cash. No Giants in cash.
He's been doing himself well, but no Trump for me. I'm out on Trump. It's just no Giants in cash, right? I guess that's no Giants in cash 2020. Is that what we're doing?
I just haven't learned my sense of humor yet. That was all sarcasm.
I love
Thank you, Mangone. All right, Dodgers hosting the Padres. Tatis, my God, all this guy does is hit home runs. On the other side, you got the Dodgers tonight going up against Garrett Richards. That'll be an interesting side. Here's another one. JT, it's a top shelf offense. Cheap parts to it. On the other side, Ross Stripling. And we're talking about Tatis. We're talking about Grisham, Machado. This offense just is starting to click now. Hosmer's back. Cronenworth has been putting up a couple of games here early on. Either side. Interesting?
You know what? It's not so much about these offenses because they're both, high, both I think top 5 ISO in the game. The pitchers are good enough. I mean, Richards has been okay. Stripling is okay. They're priced right about where they should be. That I just like other spots so much more that I don't know how much of either one of these offenses I'll have.
Yeah, it's kind of a game that's going to definitely go overlooked, right? I mean, I always like Dodgers bats if people are overlooking them. So that might take another $3 up tonight. Oakland and Mangone, did you have anything to say about this? Because actually there might be some cash plays, right?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like the Angels side a little bit, right? We talked about it. We don't like Mike Fiers. Snitches get stitches, Holden. Like we wanna blow this guy up. Like we're gonna take Mike Trout. Obviously, he's a good play if you want to stack up the Angels. But if you're talking cash games, I mean, if you look on FanDuel specifically, like you gotta like Ohtani's price, right? Like 3.1K.
Do you want to talk about the game that we're talking about?
Yeah. Oh, did I miss it? I thought we were on that game.
What game? We can move on, brother.
Oh, no.
That's fine. He doesn't have anything. The Dodgers,
he's off that game as well.
I'm not on that game. I'll admit it. Maybe that's why I moved on. That doesn't surprise me. I did that. You guys are laughing. The chat is laughing.
Hang on. I'm not a commie or anything, okay? But I feel like this flag would be up in your house. You can't even see it, can you?
I can't see it, no.
The sickle. It's the national symbol of the Soviet Union when those sons of bitch Pico commies were running their country over there. Yeah, stop it, Mangone. You're crossing the line, buddy. First show, and you're already going communist on me.
I apologize. We'll be better for next show. But I'm not really out. I'm out on that Padres game. We can move on to the one I was just talking about.
Please do. Give me some more Oakland Angels stuff. I would love to hear your thoughts on that, Mr. Kami. So that's the game, Holden. Like that's a really good spot. I mean, you gotta love it. Ohtani on FanDuel. I absolutely love him. First base, I like him a ton, right? On DraftKings, I think he's a really good play. He might not be, the guy that I'm maybe going in cash games on DraftKings. Mm-hmm. If you look, there's a guy like Rhys Hoskins for 3.9K, who I think is maybe a better option where you can save some salary. But if you have the salary, of course, I like Ohtani. I think this is such a strong spot for him. All the guys up and down this lineup, that 1 through 5, it's obviously like the best spot. And if let's say you don't want to do the 1 through 5. Let's say you want to leave one guy off. I don't mind going to like a Jason Castro if you want for a little bit cheaper. That way, catcher, it's a terrible position. And going that lefty there against Mike Fiers, it can obviously work out. I'm probably one of the only people that stays up just to watch the end of the Angels games, man. I love this offense. I love Tommy La Stella, and I love Trout and Ohtani and Rendon. They got a really good offense. Tonight they are going up against Fires. JT, you mentioned Oakland a little bit earlier, going up against Bundy, who's had some success. This was a pedigree prospect. He just couldn't get over his injuries in Baltimore. Finally had a good season. He's up for free agency. To me, it seems like he's put it together. Doesn't sound like you're sold as much on Bundy as I am. So you're targeting the A's offense. And I know a couple guys on the Run Pure Bet side also like that side too. So tell me why. Give me a little bit more of an explanation why the A's are looking sexy tonight.
Yeah, well, first I need to initiate you and something that we have to do every show. And it hurts me. It pains me, Holden, greatly. But we've always got to remind the chat, as much as they're enjoying this content, and in particular you, the new guy, they're not hitting the like button, Mangone. They're not even touching
man, that's my
like
fault.
button.
I should
They're
have
not even touching it. They're not even touching it.
Time out. Seventh inning stretch. So how many viewers? First of all, they were ripping on you because you gave stuff out for free because they didn't hit the target.
100? No, not me.
Not us. Maybe someone else.
No, it had to be you. They specifically said Mangone and JT. These two sandbaggers are doing this. So hold on a second. We need thumbs up, is what you're saying.
We need likes.
How many likes? How many likes do we have? 5?
I mean, it's sad. Look at this, Mangone. How disgusting. 55 out of 166.
It's my fault. I didn't know.
Completely unacceptable.
It's my fault. I didn't know. So just hit the
Anyway,
like button.
You know what? No swag today. We remind them every day. No swag today. Mangone,
I'll give you a sharp piece of glass if you like it.
I mean, if they can get us up to 100, we could do it. But we gotta get to 100. That's gonna be tough.
All
so
right.
you got 8 minutes to pull it off. So if they pull it off, let's give it away.
Sons of bitches. Anyways, are we done with the A's and the Angels?
No, we're not done by any stretch of the imagination. So Dylan Bundy, you're right. Huge prospect. Yeah. Here's the thing. I love targeting guys who are, in my opinion, mediocre pitchers after they have this ceiling game. And everyone's like, the crowd is like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to play Dylan Bundy again. I can't wait to stack against him. And tonight is the night I get to do that. And the reason why is because, no, he's not as good a pitcher as he's shown. He's not going to have a 31% strikeout rate and a 2% walk rate. He's not going to be a 2.5, a 2.75 xFIP guy. And his velocity was down from the middle to the back end of that last game. He got a Seattle team that struggles against right-handers, against sliders in particular. And I think this A's team is going to eat him up tonight. I love a game stack here because I think Fires has been terrible also. I think Fires, we talked about, right? 5%, 8% strikeout rate. He's not very good. He's going to give up a bunch of fly balls to this offense. I love it just as much as last night. I wasn't on the A's side as much as I should have been, and it hurt me. But I will be tonight. And I think tonight will be another one of those nights where you look up and you say, all right, I'm going to watch this game. And boom, Dylan Bundy gives up 3 homers in the first inning.
You're on the East Coast. How you get a chance to stay up for all the games?
I never sleep.
Never sleep. How about you, Mangone? You ever up at night to stay away for the West Coast?
Yeah, definitely up watching the dingers get hit. And I was sweating out last night. I was sweating our boy and one of our members, Kay Faliki, he won 100K. Right. So I was sweating that out. It was a good time. He took down some money. So, congrats to him.
How many likes we got now? We're up to 60?
62.
We're at 62. Yeah, the swag is legit, Steve Anthony says. It is. I have it on right now. I got
I want one of those so bad. Those look so good.
Yeah,
what they do is like usually the ratio of hats backwards to people not wearing hats is at least 3-1. And here it's 2-1, no hats backwards. It's almost like if you're in DFS media, you have to wear a hat backwards. And I'm just happy JT's on my side here. We don't have to do that. We're just old school. We're OGs.
Hey, we got guys that wear the regular hat. Hoop definitely is not rocking the hat backwards always. He'll do it forwards as well. So we got people that do that as well. JSU, he doesn't do the hat backwards. He does it forward. So you're in the right company.
Big JSU. He's like just the top of his head on these shows. It's really interesting. Poor JSU. Everybody makes fun of his height. It's not very nice. Sorry, JSU. I didn't mean it, buddy. You just hired me. Stacks. Let's do some stacks. Top 3 stacks, JT.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oakland, the White Sox, and the Angels.
Ooh, Oakland, the White Sox, and the Angels. I just love it that it's not Coors. Like you have to find other games. You can't just stack Coors every night and expect to win. Like there's gonna be nights, right, JT, where they're gonna put up 30 runs, and if you didn't have them, you're screwed.
Yep.
But I mean, at this point, you're right. There are other ones. I like the White Sox. I don't mind the Orioles. Mangone, you were talking a little bit about the Orioles. I really didn't mind them that much, to tell you the truth. And maybe the Angels too. So that's interesting. Anybody you're looking at? Mangone, you're a cash guy. Do you throw in a GPP lineup, or do you just throw your cash in the GPP?
Yeah, I mean, I throw the cash one in the GPP. I mean, I put it in the single entry too. Obviously I'm not going to run it 50 times or something in that, but yeah, I'll throw it in there. And I typically stack, so it's okay. And I'd obviously be stacking up the Coors game. But if I'm going just my top 3 stacks besides Coors, right? Because Coors, Arizona, Rockies, I don't have to explain it. They're a good play. If I went my other 3 favorite stacks, I would say, I'm going to go back to the Nationals. I think Nationals might be the number one. It's either Nationals or Philly. They're like 1A, 1B. So I'd say they're right next to each other. And then my third favorite is probably the White Sox. I really think that's where I would be going today. So that's kind of where I'm at. Those 3 are my favorites besides the Coors Field games.
Real quick, got Corey Seager out tonight too, out of the Dodgers lineup. He's gotten off to just a rocking start. 989 OPS. He's got 3 home runs this season. So Seager's out again. His back's bothering him. If you're just joining us, Ronald Acuna is out tonight. George Springer is out tonight. And the White Sox get a couple of really important bats back in Tim Anderson and Edwin Encarnacion. Time for home runs, boys. Give me a home run pick there. JT, how many home run picks do you guys give on any given day?
I think we've been doing 3, right, Mangone? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, 3. 3 is perfectly fine. And we always try to make sure at least one of them's low owned. Holden, you do the same, right? Pick your 3, find one that's low owned too as well.
The Starling Marte is not a low owned guy.
Oh yeah, that is facts. That is how the slate is going today. No Starling Marte low owned home runs today.
All right, guys, who is it? JT.
Yeah, before I get to home runs, just one thing that I just popped up and found out. It looks like the home plate umpire in Coors tonight is Alfonso Marquez. So I am not going to have any Zach Gallen when Alfonso Marquez is behind the plate.
Well, tell the people why, JT. JT, tell the people why. I mean, what's Alfonso doing?
Well, first of all, he's I don't know. Would you say he is the second worst or the worst umpire overall in Major League Baseball?
No, he's not. Laz Diaz, dude. Come on.
I don't think is he around anymore?
Yeah, Laz is around.
Really?
Alive. Hernandez, wasn't he on the traveling umpire?
Angels worse. Angels worse than Marquez. But Marquez is an extreme hitter's umpire. Terrible strike zone. You've got that park. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, we got Laz Diaz. There's some really bad umpires. Their union's just too strong against Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Mangone, you want me to throw mine out there, Mangone? Give you another second. Hunter Renfroe. Brought him up earlier tonight. Love the matchup. Boom, lefty, home run. Home run, Hunter Renfroe. That's my pick.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, I like Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah.
I'm only picking one or 3.
You can do 3. I'm just doing 1.
Okay.
I don't have enough cred to give 3 yet. Give me a couple of weeks, dude.
All right, so let's help your Hunter Renfroe hits. I like that one. That's a good one. So I'm going to give 3. 1, I'm going to go to the Phillies game. I'm going to go to each one of my stacks, okay? So from the Phillies game, I'm going to go to Rhys Hoskins. Like him a ton. I think this is a really good spot for him to hit one out. We'll go to the White Sox side of the ball. And I will say, the more I've kind of looked at the White Sox, Yasmani Grandal, he's one of my boys. One of the guys who's made me a bunch of money. And looking at some of the stuff on him, I like this spot for him. So Yasmani Grandal, I'll go back to him. I think he could be in a pretty good spot. And what was the last stack I liked? I'm blanking here. Oh, the Nationals, of course. I said yesterday, Holden, I said, Trey Turner was my home run call. And then I said, let's just say he makes it to 18.7, right? Instead, because I was a little too worried. I'm not going to go back to the well on him. He did hit that home run, so that was awesome. We're going to obviously go to a lefty. And we're going to go to Mr. Adam Eaton here against Rick Porcello.
Ooh.
So Adam Eaton hits one out. We'll go with that as my Nationals guy.
All right. Very good. That was fun. Thanks for getting my first show under my belt, guys. Appreciate it. Vladimir Mangone, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me at at Travis Mangone. You can always find me at Run Pure Sports, right? If you're watching this for the first time, go check that out over there. We have tons of awesome content going on. And if you have any questions, always reach out to that Twitter and always reach out to me. I'm happy to help.
JT?
Yeah, right here at Run Pure, at JT Hayes Jr. on Twitter. And Matt Olson's going to hit a homer tonight, guaranteed.
I like it. I love Matt Olson. Love Chapman, too. I just like the A's. I think they're a fun team. You can follow me at Holden Radio. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. I'll be back on the NBA show tomorrow with JSU and somebody else, I'm sure. I'll be doing baseball with you guys, too. So thanks so much for making it easy on me, guys. Really appreciate it. And good luck tonight.